How I became a doctor using the universal laws of success, even though I didn't know it. You've reached Talking with Dr. Terry, 180 Seconds to a Better You, message number 499, and I'm Dr. Terry Wurzbacher. It's interesting how my journey towards becoming a doctor utilized every single law of success, and I didn't even know it. But it's as if I was given a roadmap and all I had to do was hit the start button. It started with the law of vision. As I told you, I heard what I interpreted to be God telling me I was going to be a doctor, and that was when I was 4. That was my vision. Nothing else ever entered my mind. The law of thought then followed naturally. Being a doctor was all I ever thought about. There was never any doubt, not even when I got rejected at medical school. The law of change kept appearing too. When I got rejected, I had to change my thinking while holding on to my vision. In the time that I was rejected, 2 things happened. One was that I developed epilepsy, and it took a year to diagnose and control. The second thing that happened was that the anticipated passage of Title IX got my school ready to accept women. I also had to change my thinking about what being a doctor meant. I learned that being a doctor of osteopathy was as good, if not better, than an MD. The law of command. I always proudly announced that I was going to be a doctor, and I stood my ground in the face of those who said, "Oh, isn't that cute? You mean you want to be a nurse?" I was a female, and this was the 1950s and 60s. The law of attraction was constantly in play in my quest to become a doctor. I attracted everything related to medicine. My family wasn't rolling in money, but the gifts I remember from my childhood were 3. The invisible man, which showed all the organs inside a body, a microscope, and a teddy bear. These objects occupied my personal laboratory in our cellar and my personal hospital in the guest room. The law of focus should be pretty obvious. All I focused on was checking off the boxes that would get me to my goal. The law of action spurred me to take all the classes and do extra things. The law of value. All my time, energy, and money went towards achieving my goal. I even joined the Navy so that I could afford medical school. The law of relationships. This was and still is the one law that I'm not that good at, but I did cultivate a relationship with the doctor who was in charge of the lab I was working at, and he taught me about osteopathy. The law of supply. Where would I get the money to go to college and then medical school? My parents could only afford to send one of their 2 children. So in that regard, I'm lucky my brother was a screw-up because I got to go to college. There was no scarcity because I found out I could join the military to pay for my medical school, and I did. The law of persistence. You all know I didn't get into medical school the first 2 times I tried, but I knew that that was what I was supposed to do, so I just kept applying until I got in. The law of truth. As I said in the beginning, these laws were there almost as my 12 commandments for me to follow. It was my yellow brick road laid out in front of me. There you have my story, and I hope you all have a diamond day.